We've thought about what we say, so let's look at what we hear in a conversation. If we listen without interrupting, the other person can tell us more about how they see the problem, which helps us understand their wants and needs, those hidden influences that we explored in Chapter 2. One phrase which is most often heard in conflict resolution is, "Oh, I didn't realise." The more you know, the more chance there is of an agreement. On the other hand, it's off-putting if we think that we're not being listened to properly, and our communication, both speaking and listening, can suffer. We've all had a conversation where the other person was obviously not listening. Perhaps they asked us a detail that we'd just given, or they were looking over our shoulder at someone else, and how we felt about that. There will be times when you want to ask questions. Make it clear that you are asking to understand rather than to challenge. Wait for a natural break rather than interrupt. Most of us are not very good at listening. Researchers say that we can take in about a quarter of what we hear, and when we're speaking to someone who is scared, upset, angry, or all three-quarters is a lot of information to lose. It's worse because the other person thinks that you're hearing and understanding them. So what could possibly go wrong? Another thing that mediators hear from people involved in disagreements, disputes or conflicts is that they simply want to be listened to. They want to be heard. So when the other person is speaking, you have two jobs to do. Focus on listening to them and let them know that that's what you're doing. It's not always straightforward. Research suggests that we can process around 7 pieces of information at once. Think about a typical conversation. How many pieces of information are you trying to juggle? Here's a quick idea covering a couple of seconds.
The Treasurer has updated on
I must remember that special point. What should I have for lunch? Why have they folded their arms? What's this last incident they're talking about? Friendly or threatening? What's going on outside? Has my voice gone squeaky? Is that my phone ringing? What should I say next?
And what do you think, Clive?
Well, body language. You can find loads of advice on body language, especially when dealing with confrontation of any sort. Some of it is contradictory and some plain wrong. What we need to do is to make it clear to the other person that we are listening to them. We'll look later at how you can set up a conversation so that everyone is comfortable. For now, all that needs to be said is that the best way to let someone know that you're listening to them is, well, listen to them. Worrying about where you put your arms, whether you should nod or smile, etc., just means that you're not doing what you should be doing, listening carefully to everything the other person is saying. A word about rephrasing. Some professionals say that we should rephrase what the other person says. That means put their ideas into other words. One problem with that is that while you're thinking about how to rephrase what they've just said, you're not listening to what they're saying now. Another is that if your rephrasing is not accurate, you risk sounding as if you weren't listening in the first place, and you could be unwittingly adding to your own bias. For example, there's a problem at work because Patrick's boss, Angela, has noticed his reports are often delayed. He tells her,
"I know my reports are sometimes late. The problem is I'm so busy I run out of time."
One simple approach is to repeat a short phrase from what they've just said. This could be the most important words they've just said or the last phrase they used. Angela could reply,
"You tell me your reports are often late because you're so busy you run out of time."
It shows that she's been listening and gives Patrick an opening to say more.
"Yes, that new contract means I have to reply to twice the number of emails each day."
Now, a rephrase might have been,
"It sounds to me like you feel you need support in planning your day."
but Patrick wants a review of his workload, not help with planning, and his internal response is,
"She's not listening."
Whatever he says next could add to the confrontation. Sometimes it's enough just to repeat key words that the other person has said. To return to the conversation between Angela and Patrick.
"I know my reports are sometimes late. The problem is I'm so busy I run out of time."
"You tell me your reports are often late because you're so busy you run out of time."
"Yes, That new contract means I have to reply to twice the number of emails each day.
Twice the number of emails.
The thing is, the customer doesn't really know anyone else on our team, so they send everything to me.
Now they're beginning to see that the real problem that needs discussing is his unexpected new workload, not his planning. Some other phrases which can support someone to say more about what matters to them include, well, tell me more about that. Help me understand. So what do you think? What impact would that have on other people? What would you do now if you were me? These 2 sessions have looked at what we say and what we hear. The next covers hidden biases and how they can upset a conversation.